if it will be live when we're doing it, and then we can still watch it later.
Yep, it should be live now.
Okay.
Excellent. Welcome to Yukon Speaks, the podcast that elevates Yukon's best. I'm your host, Brian Pillmore, and in each episode we delve into the stories of the leaders, innovators, and visionaries who drive our city forward. Join us as we uncover some of these remarkable individuals who got their start, what they're passionate about today, the challenges that they navigate as they shape the Yukon of tomorrow. Our conversations aim to highlight and elevate the best of Yukon, offering insights and inspiration from the heart of our community. So whether you're a resident of Yukon or someone who appreciates the stories of small town dynamism, tune in. Let's celebrate and elevate the voices that contribute to our city's vibrancy and future. Today we're joined by Pam Shelton of the Yukon City Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Pam. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited to talk about Yukon.
Well, I've known you since the day I came to Yukon in late 2012 when I bought a house here and finally moved all my belongings in early 2013, and was fortunate to meet you right off the bat from my mother-in-law. So I know a little bit more about your early beginnings from her. But tell me, how did you come to Yukon? How did you get your start here? What was that like?
Well, I started teaching, and I graduated from OSU in 75. I started teaching in 76 in Oklahoma City, taught there 1 year. Someone called and said, Pam, there's a home ec position in Yukon, Oklahoma, teaching vocational orientation, which is career development for all sophomores. I came to Yukon, and needless to say, I've been here almost all that time. I left for 2 years in Memphis, and another year was Oklahoma City previous. So I love Yukon. All my kids went to Yukon, and it is my heart and soul.
Yeah. So vocational, helping out with that vocational formation, and also, your background in home economics. Tell me, I'm the son of a mother who studied home economics, so I get plenty of that.
Okay.
But tell me and tell our listeners, what did that involve, and what is DECA, and tell us all about that good stuff.
Okay, I was FHA sponsor and DECA sponsor.
What are those organizations?
Well, Future Homemakers America, but it's no longer called that. It's called FCCLA, Family and Consumer Science Leaders, something like that. I don't know. It's way long. But I liked FHA. And it was Future Homemakers. I had as many guys in class as I did girls. And I walk around town and they go, oh, Miss Shelton, I had you in class. So it's home. And I love being here. Then I went to Memphis for a couple of years, came back, and there was a DECA position, or marketing. I was able to teach a lot of kids. In fact, the building I'm in right now, I had to do some on-the-site work. And I worked at Snyder's in the deli. I had to have 3 weeks of work, and Jim and Emil and Fred hired me, and I got to work here for a few weeks.
That had to be pretty interesting.
It was fun.
What was the craziest thing that you learned in working in the grocery business for a short while?
Well, be careful and don't slip when you're in the deli.
True.
Yes,
a few
because
sharp objects and some slippery floors.
Slippery floors, yes. So
okay.
I did learn that. Yeah.
Well, good. So what is DECA? What does DECA do in as an organization?
DECA, just like home ec, I think, are life skills.
Yes.
Distributive Education Clubs of America, I don't even know if they still call it that. I think it's mainly marketing and learning sales. These kids, I've had them and they come back and they said, I learned that. I learned that when I was in your class. I'm like, that's just what makes you happy. That makes you feel that you did something right. Kids learn how to market something. I made them design a new product and they had to market it.
Yeah.
So just everyday skills.
Yeah. I think those
PR
are
skills,
so critical.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I think great organizations like DECA or Junior Achievement or others that are in our schools that give real practical education and I don't think that there's any substitute for that. I mean, I'm an old school fan of the door-to-door sales. I know they've taken some of this stuff out of schools now, but I think that there's value in what you learn.
What's really hard to turn down a little 10-year-old selling
but that 10-year-old or 5-year-old has to be brave enough to knock on that door.
And, yes, exactly. So.
My favorite question that I always ask was, how many of whatever, how many of these do you need today?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, that's
right?
good.
Yeah.
Good, I know.
And it was never, do you want any of these? It was, how many of them do you want? So you moved from there, and then you were a teacher in the schools. Any other subjects that you covered in your time there?
Yes, not only, well, mainly just marketing and community ed. And then I went into community ed. And I was community ed director for 17 years. Now that is where I really got involved. Even in FHA and DECA, I was involved in the community because I worked with businesses.
Yes.
My kids we would come to Snyder's and buy groceries for home ec. We all went, I gave them $5. They had to prepare a meal for $5, and they had to go shop at Snyder's and buy their food. So we did practical things. After I was offered the position, I was told that Juanice Gibson, who'd been the beginning of time with community education, started it. They said she was retiring and would I apply. I went over and met with Jean Cranfield and Jackie Huff, and she was the current secretary of community ed. And I was offered that position, and I did that for 17 years. During that time, I worked with businesses all over town.
Wow.
And we did classes. We had 70-something classes each semester. We
That's
started
outstanding.
Reality Check. We started Reality Check and the breakfast that we still have now
Yes.
for all the teachers. So we were very community oriented with everything we did. And
Yep.
that's why I think my passion for Yukon has grown.
That's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember a few years after I moved to Yukon, there was a big push and effort and great swell of community support to relight the mill. Tell us about that project that you're so involved in back then.
That was another one of the things that they said, oh, Pam, it'll take you 5 or 10 years to get that money. I worked with Jared Wright, who was a Yukon graduate and Metro Sign, and he's there now. He wasn't at that time, but we all worked together to get the money raised. And they said it would take 10 years. Well, we did it in 2.
Oh my.
And so we took it down one day when we were all out there, took that whole sign down. They had to rebuild it. It was rusted to the
yeah.
core. I have the S. The committee gave me the S. It's in my front foyer at home, and I decorate it all the time for different holidays. And that is something we did, and the community came out and supported it. And within 2 years, it might have just been 1 year. It was
Yeah.
very short
It was
amount
very
of
quick,
time.
yeah.
And we relit the mill, had a big party out front. We
Yeah.
auctioned off the letters.
And still keeping it going, right? Still
yeah.
maintaining
and it
the
goes
mill.
out
and
every
yeah.
once in a while. And we have a young man, Trey Maxey, that helped us through that whole thing and comes and goes up on the mill. It's not something you can do easily.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to go up that spiral
Not for the faint of heart.
No, it is not. So.
But it's such a great testimony, one, to your leadership, and two, to the support here in Yukon,
Oh,
that
the
would
committee,
happen that quickly.
the people in Yukon that have that passion for Yukon just care.
Yeah.
And,
So much pride in the heritage and what makes Yukon so unique. So tell me, from there, from the schools, you moved into a brand new position in Yukon.
Yes. Well,
but you went, of course, to Stockyards first.
I went
Tell us about
well,
Stockyards.
I was here in Yukon as the Main Street director, part-time. And I love that. I got to sell Main Street. It's just easy to sell something when you love it and see the pride that people have on Main Street. And then when I was there, that was part-time. I got a call from Stockyard City.
Yes.
Now, I loved Stockyard City.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem with Stockyard City, there's not a community.
Yeah.
So when I needed volunteers there, all
It's
my
challenging.
Yukon volunteers
Yeah,
came and helped
yeah,
me. But it was amazing. If something happened and I, got kicked out of Yukon, I would love to go back.
Yeah,
to
it's not a
Stockyard.
bad place to hang out.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah, whether it's McClintock's or Cattleman's, I'm always
I'm right
hanging
there
out.
for that. So I stayed there, and then Kinley Ferris was the chamber director, and she became very ill and passed away. And some people called and said, Pam, you need to apply for the chamber position. And I was going, I really love Yukon, and I hated that drive. I know it's only 20 minutes, but it could be an hour some mornings. And so I was offered the position, and I've been here since March in 2017.
That's outstanding.
So.
Well, as you think about the community that you're leading the chamber for, what are some of the challenges that you see today, present in our great community?
Well, let me say some good things.
Oh, of course.
I think the thing that has happened in the last few years is that the city and the chamber and the schools, we have all worked together to help build Yukon.
Absolutely.
I mean, and sometimes there are challenges.
Yeah.
You have to follow these rules and you have to follow those rules. But I think most people have a value of Yukon and want to see it progress.
Definitely.
So that is what I'm still after, economic development right now, and making my members happy and growing the chamber, which we have grown. But now I really want to educate my chamber.
Yeah.
I want, what do they need? Instead of just like, okay, we need this sponsorship for that, I want to say, what can we offer you? We've started a new member orientation. We're doing Canva classes. We're trying to do, I think this is the old school teacher in me, we want to teach.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to do that for our members. But economic development is one of my things that
Yeah. Well, there have been some exciting announcements even just this year, right?
Yes.
Whether it's OnQ or Harbor Freight, I'm always seeing the ribbon cuttings that you all are holding just about every Friday. Tell me about some of the things you're most excited for on the economic development front.
Well, we're working with a company now called Opportunity Funding, and I believe you visited
Yep.
with one of the men there. There's some things that could happen in 2026. It is the 100th anniversary of Route 66.
Yes.
And our Route 66 could be amazing and really cash in on that. People come here all the time, every day,
Yes.
from all over. I hosted a group from Czech Republic, motorcycle group, and we had no kolaches in town.
Oh, wow.
I had to go to Oklahoma City. That was before Vladislav was open.
Yeah.
So now when people come to town, I had a group from OU, their marketing students did a tour. I took them over to the mill, and they had pictures out in front of the mill, and then I had kolaches for them. So we have to sell ourselves to
Yeah.
make this happen. And so I think we just have to get out there and do it.
Absolutely.
But economic development, the mill, relighting the mill was amazing, but if we could do something with those buildings, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know there have been a lot of different discussions around that. Sometimes I say that, people in Yukon that care so much about Yukon that it's sometimes challenging to get new ideas going because they remember the good old days, or they remember or even today, they remember what it is today.
Yeah.
They don't want to see anything disrupt the great community we have. As you look at different developers that have had ideas there, what do you see as being the key to success? You see people do it well, people do it not so well. What's the key to successful development in a community like Yukon?
okay. People do want it to stay like it is. I mean, they don't want to tear that mill down and tear that the other side down. It is not really feasible to tear that down. I think with the things, it would be more expensive to tear down. I have been looking at different things. In fact, I got a text this weekend. Someone had been in Houston,
Yes.
and they'd taken their silos down, and it's called the Silo District.
Yeah.
Have you been to it? I haven't been. I'm gonna.
I
have
haven't
to take
been
a
to the
trip.
one in Houston, but very familiar with the one in Carrollton, Texas.
Okay.
As well as some of the work that has gone on in and around Waco.
Waco, right.
So I think there's great examples around the country, but
Yes.
sorry
So-
for interrupting.
No,
you.
that's okay. No, we've got to figure out how to make it happen.
Yes.
And people have to be committed and dedicated. And working with this company, they are going out and doing a feasibility study. We've been working with them. It's taken a while, but we're finally getting off. And working with them to find out if people are willing to step up. We're going
Yeah.
to have investors.
Well, I think what's most interesting to me about the work that Opportunity Funding does, as I visited with them and educated myself, they seem to initiate conversations as a neutral outside party with a lot of stakeholders.
Right.
And there's something really beneficial in that,
Yes.
because sometimes you have, let's say you have 20 different stakeholders, whether that's municipal employees, whether that's governmental legislative bodies like a city council or a state legislature, whether it's business interests, adjacent property owners, community districts, you name it. There's so many different stakeholders, and then the broader community as a whole. And sometimes those, if they're just conversations amongst those people, then walls are put up or people kind of dig into their trenches. And I think what I learned, and I don't know the group that well, but what I learned that they have been successful in doing is initiating those conversations,
Exactly.
getting what some people see as what are the, hey, this is a line I can't cross, and what are the things that are like, hey, I could budge here, or I'm interested in what's important to each stakeholder.
And I think a lot of people in Yukon have a vision, and we just have not expressed it. So I think this could be the igniter, opportunity funding to get something going.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the work that they do, to me, what was most interesting is the conversations that they initiate. I think they bring together stakeholders and think about investment as well, but what was really unique was initiation of the conversations. Well, tell me, what else are you most excited about that's happening here in Yukon? Feel free to plug some of the great stuff you're doing here at the Chamber.
Well, one thing that I'm very excited about, because being here, my family and Micah's family all grew up at Mazzio's.
Of course.
I'm plugging it.
I was there last Sunday,
and I was there yesterday.
It was hopping.
It was amazing there yesterday. So we've got that's coming back. Something's got to go in where Cash Saver was.
Absolutely.
We've got to get more people there. There are things on Main Street. I know we're getting the Dollar Tree and all that, and we need to get people going, and we need to keep a pride. I'd walk out here. And this is something I don't think people think about. Somebody has to pick up that trash. And,
For sure.
you know, if you're out there, you can do that too. But our pride has got to be built back up in Yukon. And
I think people have a lot of pride in the community. It's just a matter of expressing it and people feeling like they can do it. I was out with so many volunteers that, the Main Street program pulled together to clean up Main Street. And the work that Vicki Davis and Stephen Kerr are doing there, tremendous work to make sure that Main Street is as vital as possible and make it a really warm and welcoming. And I say it's the heart of Yukon.
And then another part of the heart of Yukon is our museums, which people don't even know.
Right.
The Yukon Historic Society, they have 2 farm museums, which are huge buildings.
Yeah.
And then they have the 3 train cars. And people can even rent the train car for a birthday party for little kids.
Hey, I love it.
I mean, there's no bathrooms. You have to walk across to the farm museum. But, I mean, little kids could care less for a little while. But, I mean, there are so many. And then we have so many nonprofits in Yukon that are helping so many people.
For sure.
And just the things that we do to keep Yukon going. And there's so much more we can't do. That's my goal, is to get some more stuff going.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're doing it day in and day out. Tell me, where do you see the community 5-10 years from now? What, vision cast for us here a little bit?
Oh, what I would love I would love it in 2 years, but it's not going to happen. I would love to see some extra wonderful things happening over on the 2 areas and call it the Mill District.
Yeah.
We got districts all over the place.
Surrounding the iconic image of the mill, which is right behind us here.
Yeah, just that side and that side.
Absolutely.
And there's so much, maybe one side could be preservation.
Yep.
And the other side could be economic development, because they're turning things in downtown Oklahoma City. We were down there yesterday. And they're turning old, dilapidated buildings into wonderful, and they're kicking rear.
Yeah,
for a better way of saying it, they are just going crazy, and people want that. People would stay here in Yukon.
Absolutely.
If we had, So.
Oh, I know. On most Friday nights, I'm staying right here, finding some place on Main Street to hang out at, and it's a wonderful community to be in. And I think a lot of people are realizing that, even starting to redevelop and buy some housing that's very close to Main Street.
And we got Frisco Ridge out there.
Absolutely.
I mean, Frisco Road, that that could really
that could be a huge development.
Deal.
Yep.
So
there's so many exciting things going on. I really appreciate you spending time with me today, Pam. Tell our listeners a little bit about, well, one, where they can find the Chamber if they just want to walk in like I just did to your great office here, but also some of the things the Chamber offers, why they ought to become members, and so on.
Okay. Yukon Chamber is a member organization, and we currently have around 600 members, all ages, all sizes. We have, depending on your business, you can be a individual, 1 to 6, 7 to 15, 16 to 30, 30 and above, and then we have nonprofits. We have a lot of opportunities. We do a profile, which just came out, and that lists a lot of information about Yukon. We have new maps, and people go, people don't use maps, and yes, they do. They come in and get maps all the time. So those are
your new directory looks great, and I heard it's very exciting what you have planned for next year as well.
Yes, we're trying to go virtual, and that will be more of a travel information guide. So I'm excited about that. The maps should be here tomorrow.
It's amazing.
And we've got 2,000 of those coming in. We work with the Oklahoma Route 66 Association and do a lot of things with them. And so we're always pushing Route 66. Come in, we help people. Our members can list jobs on our website if they have openings. Sometimes we just got to get them educated.
Yes.
We will do ribbon cuttings, we do grand reopenings, we do new member orientations, and we have one this week. And that is not even for new members only, seasoned members, because we offer so many different things. Every September we do, and Sherry Logan and I think Judy Austin started this, oh gosh, a long time ago, the new teacher luncheon, and we invite, it'll be around 200 new teachers.
Yeah,
to,
I know that luncheon is a big ordeal.
It's fun, and you'll get to come. And this year, we're trying to find sponsors. We have a Yukonopoly game.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, it looks great.
And we were trying to find sponsors so every new teacher could get one of those. So that is one of our things. And it's
Super cool.
If you need a gift for your family that's out of state,
they can buy them right here, right?
They're $20.
Come right into the Yukon Chamber. So Yukon Chamber's based right here, the old Snyder's building, 10 West Main Street.
Suite 130.
Heart of Yukon.
Yes.
Come get a vodka coffee and then drop in and hang out here at the chamber. Your website?
www.yukoncc.com, and we're on Facebook as Yukon Chamber.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on Yukon Speaks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to join in the conversation here and help us keep elevating Yukon's best. Thank you.